this episode, John, because I think everyone's going to really love to see what you did.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So I think everyone wants to go headfirst into what we have in store today. So welcome everyone, as always, to our live stream. Um, I guess should we do an early drum roll now to announce officially what the theme is for our upcoming exploration?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, little drum roll,
Okay.
please.
So the theme of the next event is
Philosophy.
philosophy. Yeah, philosophy. One of there we go. Yeah.
It's called
So,
the Big Questions Exploration. You talk about it, Andrew.
sure. Yeah. So this is the artwork for the next event, and it's called The Big Questions, and philosophy is the topic. And with philosophy, we're like, what exactly is philosophy? And it's a lot of when we talked about it as a team, we came to the conclusion that it's a lot about asking questions, and those questions reveal answers or even reveal more questions. So yeah, and then this piece of art, the this lady, maybe she's thinking about something. Maybe it is semblance the AI, but she's kind of thinking there.
Yeah, and you'll probably notice like this is going to be the marketing material that we're going to be using when we announce that the event itself is live. So you'll know when it is live when you see this image on our social media channels. And when we were doing the marketing materials for it, I wanted to incorporate some elements that are in the game, ones that John helped produce and implement into the game. So you'll notice that there are chess pieces, which you might notice a theme with later. And it might not be totally clear at first with the big questions, but it's all about philosophy. I know there are some people who probably are into philosophers, but we delve a little deeper than just like the history of philosophy. It's more so asking about the big questions and just like trying to figure out what your own life philosophy could be if you don't know what all of your options are, because there are lots of people who have thought throughout all of history. Yeah. So it's fun to see what people have come up with and what answers we do know.
Yeah, and for the game, like, because our game has covered a lot of science and technology, so we were asking like, okay, why would semblance and AI care about philosophy? And we kind of came to the conclusion that, well, so there's a lot of things in life like truth, reality, what is like good and evil, that are still part of our world, but science can't really answer those questions. So even an AI might have to think about philosophy in order to answer some of those questions for that AI self. Like, what does an AI think is good or evil, or what is just, or who should rule society? So in this exploration, Semblance kind of delves into these questions and is seeking answers, and you're going to unlock different answers to these questions. And you might even get some of the big answers, like what the meaning of all of life could be, potentially.
Yeah, I do like Semblance's approach of branching out and trying new things against her programming. Just to give you all just a little bit of a taste of what's in store for it, we actually will be showing you some gameplay of it, of the beginning of the event. But I'm sure everyone here who has played an exploration event is familiar with the badges and the badge system that we've added to the game. And this is the first badge that you'll be able to earn playing the Big Questions exploration. It's it might be a little bit confusing, but that's exactly what we were going for.
So yeah. So in the main game of Cell Singularity, you have achievements that you unlock, and those are like collect 25 jellyfish or 100 jellyfish. But for the events, we don't have achievements, but we wanted to kind of have special goals that you were aiming for, and we came up with this idea of badges. So each event has 3 major badges, and they kind of tell part of the story. So this is the first badge you unlock, and it's about confusion, as Emily was alluding to. And it kind of, for us, it represents some of the first emotions you might feel if you're on a journey of philosophical like understanding or trying to understand your world. You might actually get a little confused about like what is my purpose, like what is my purpose in life, like why am I doing this, So this represents the first step on that journey.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I like all the colors, and I think the colors on the badge especially like tie well with the overall exploration that we have. You would probably notice it's a lot more colorful than the other two ones that we did, and I'm excited to hear John talk more about that and our reasoning for making it very pink.
Yeah, Adidia, it's not string theory, but that's actually a great point.
I like that interpretation. There will be lots of interpreting and different perspectives that we would love to hear from everyone in the chat. So if you have your own, like, it reminds me of this, or your own perspectives, we highly encourage it, especially for this episode, because philosophy is very interpretive, and everyone can come to their own conclusions. I also just wanted to note real quick before we jump into gameplay, for anyone who would like to join our public beta program but doesn't know how to, I have a link for you to follow. We recently posted some patch notes on Steam and Reddit that include instructions on how to join the public beta. So if you'd like to join, we highly encourage it. We'd love to get your feedback.
Yeah, Emily, should I talk a little bit about the timeline for rolling this out and let them know about the beta?
Please. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So so currently, so the stuff we're about to show you in a few minutes. If you get really excited for it, you can actually try it out today. We are currently running an open public beta for this expansion. We're trying to do, or for this event, trying to get a little more beta testing to make sure like everything is playable. There's no bugs. So this weekend we're running that test. So if you play on Steam, you just can check out our Steam page, and there's a link on how to join the public beta. If you're on iOS, you can follow this link to Test Flight, and you can test it on your iOS device. And then for Android players, there is a sign up sheet, so you'll have to sign up, and then we have to do a little bit of work to get you in. But yeah, so if you're interested, we'd love to get a few more testers in for the weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah, so follow that link.
Yeah. I'll post it again later during the Q&A session. But for now, I think let's head on into the game demo mode. And please let me know if the audio is too loud. When I tested it, I had a hard time getting it below a certain level. All right.
Oh, I saw Lori's in the chat. Hey, Lori, how's it going? Lori is one of the writers, our Hopping Fun. She's helping us on some future events. All right, so here we are. This is the new exploration event for philosophy.
All right. Actually, I don't know if I can have gameplay audio, unfortunately. I think I messed something up. So apologies, everyone, if you can't hear the gameplay. But I promise it'll be a lot of fun when it is live, and you'll be able to experience the sounds for yourself. I wanted to add them in for this demo because they feel extra special. But I highly encourage you turning on your sound if you don't normally play with sound for this upcoming exploration.
So in this exploration, with each event, we want to have unique currencies. So let's see. So in this game, you're actually earning questions. So each time you tap, you're earning. Okay, here we go. So this is the first philosophy unlock. So you just unlocked this giant head.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. So check this out. Yes. Yeah. Rotate that around. So what is this? So we had a head, and then you split it apart in different pieces. Why did you split it apart?
Yeah, we can talk more about the process of how we got here a bit later in the stream. But basically, what we did is we took a model of Semblance's head that we already had in the game, and then we kind of turned it into this statue-looking thing here, and then we cut it up into little pieces, as you can see here. So it's kind of fragmented. And the idea is, as we kind of go through the philosophy event, we start putting these pieces together, and then kind of making it whole. And then as you kind of, go down the different branches of philosophy, and as you kind of explore them, new kind of content unlocks, and it kind of emerges from the head, as we'll see in a bit. And the idea is that we wanted to kind of capture the idea of these different branches of philosophy in the garden somehow.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of an idea, you might see that there are the ghost generator indicators here on the main tree. So these are like the sort of pillars that you can unlock. We'll get a little idea of it and show you the first two generators you can unlock, but we don't want to spoil too much. Um,
Yeah.
I also think I love all of the writing that went into this as well. I especially love the philosophy writing because I didn't even know that philosophy literally means love of wisdom, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, so as you see, it starts off with philosophy. That's the kind of the beginning generator node. And then you start off on kind of this journey of asking questions. So the first thing you're going to unlock is a question. What is right? And this one asks kind of like, what is like right and wrong? And then the answer to that question is something called ethics.
I have to get my new currency. I have to collect more of it. What is the new
Yeah.
currency?
Questions. Yeah, so you're earning 1.6 questions per tap, and eventually you earn a lot. But yeah, so the first question is like, what is right and wrong, and like how do we as like human beings that think, like how do we solve that? And there's something called ethics, which is a branch of philosophy that kind of answers some of those questions. So we'll shortly find out what that
I
what
apologize.
that
My
means.
tapping is not the fastest. I really should invest in an auto clicker.
We forgot to
Can we
turn on
do
the sheets.
a time warp, maybe?
Ooh,
Ooh, yeah, there
I,
we go.
I do have
Yeah.
I think enough. Oh, nice.
Good
I do
idea.
have enough Darwinium. I like to save that up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, cool. Very nice. Oh, and yeah, there we go. So that the in the events, here we go.
That's one cool animation that just popped up.
And so this part of Semblance's head now represents ethics, and we wanted to illustrate ethics using kind of the scales, maybe weighing what might be good or evil or right and wrong in our world.
You might also know that there's a little bit of a color theme in this pillar that may or may not also be relevant for the other pillars that you can unlock in the game.
And yeah, everything in this orange column that shows up is related to ethics. So if Emily, if you zoom in on those, we also kind of we tried to color the icons so they also are all the same color of that color pillar. So everything here is about ethics. When you unlock ethics, you are proposed two new questions: what is ethical, and then what is moral? These are two different pieces of ethics, I guess. One has more to do with like good and evil, and the other one, ethics, is more about. I'm actually a little confused what the difference is.
Oh, well, I mean these two nodes kind of teach you what is the difference between ethics and morals. You'll see here when you read what is ethical, it says, how should we act towards others? How do we decide what behavior is ethical? What happens when different principles come into conflict? And then with the moral node, it says, where do moral values come from? Are certain acts or behaviors inherently good? Do the same rules apply to everyone, everywhere? So I think with ethics, it's more of applying to like how you should act towards people, and then morals is like your own beliefs. So it delves a little bit deeper, and we answer more of those questions and differentiate the differences later on in the rest of the pillar,
Yeah,
as well
and
as in the rest of the exploration.
yeah, and this is a good example of a lot of things in philosophy. It's kind of because it's all conceptual and it's in the mind, and the differences are sometimes very subtle. So one of the challenges of this one is kind of pulling apart and illustrating how these concepts are unique.
Mm-hmm.
So when you unlock these though, so if you zoom back in to the things that it unlocked on the tree,
Yeah.
You can see like it starts to tell the story that answers that question. So with what is moral, you unlock a node called moral skepticism, which is about the investigation of maybe morals. And then for what is ethical, there's a concept called dharma, which I think is it has something to do with right or wrong.
It's a pretty grandiose
Yeah.
concept that's hard to describe, as I've learned during our writing meetings, where it's like dharma, sorry, is just a it's so big. But in the end, all we can really say is that it's sometimes defined as righteousness or merit, especially depending on what belief you hold or what religion you're a part of, because dharma is defined by different groups of people differently.
Oh, Emily, it looks like you've unlocked the first mission up top.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go ahead and open that?
What is this?
What is that?
What
That's
can
not
it be?
Yeah, well, it's a Logit. Logits?
What's a logit?
What the heck is that?
Wow, I can earn so many logits in my objectives.
So we have a new prize, and they're called Logits. And this is a new currency that we've added. These can only be earned in the exploration events, and Logits have their own store. This here is the Logit Store, and the Logit Store is going to have new types of items that are either cosmetic items, or you can also unlock special generators that boost the main simulation. So I guess we can just talk about some of these that you'll see in the next patch.
I want all of my logits now.
Yeah. So I think my favorite is, I guess I like, so we have one of those, a low resolution flatworm. So the flatworm already looks pretty low res, but this will turn your flatworm even lower resolution, kind of almost like a block. So this is a cosmetic item where you can switch the way the flatworm looks. You can turn it on, and you can also turn it off once you've unlocked that cosmetic. Emily, you want to talk about the other cosmetics?
I mean, this one's my favorite. For anyone who has been around during our Natural Selection Island contest days, you might remember Archie making a bit of an appearance in some Hawaiian garb, and now you can actually don him in that outfit if you save up enough logits and purchase his cosmetic. So you can. It's called the Island Time outfit, and he's ready to go on the tropical vacation of a lifetime.
So yeah, so if you play the events and if you save up in the events as you do missions, you'll now get these logits. And then if you save up 25 of them, you can basically unlock Archie's Island Time costume. And in the Mesozoic Valley where Archie normally stands, now he'll have a much different outfit. He'll have some really great sunglasses that he wears.
Yeah. And you can also have him do that while bringing a lovely moonlit night to Mesozoic Valley, which is another thing you can purchase.
Yeah, this one was really cool. Like, because we were like, so these are just the beginning of cosmetic items that we're thinking of. So we want to brainstorm a lot of new ideas in the future. But this one, we were like, oh, maybe because in the Mesozoic Valley we use shadows and light. So we're like, maybe we could change it to be nighttime, and we did. We made it night if you unlock the Moonlight Valley.
I think we're getting some questions in the chat about what artifacts are, because I think these are the most mysterious of all of the potential purchases in the Logit store. So, Andrew, would you like to talk a little bit more about the artifacts?
Yeah, so the artifacts, so these three artifacts are kind of themed around the events that we currently have. We have a telescope artifact, which is kind of based on the James Webb, a fungus artifact, and then a new one, the philosophy artifact. And these are nodes that will show up in the primary simulation, the main tree. If you unlock them, it'll add a new nodes on the tree. So fungus you'll notice is priced a little more expensively, and that's because it actually adds a fungus generator to the main sim in a few traits. Whereas the philosophy artifact will add a new node to, I think, the Bronze Age, which is philosophy. These nodes, not only will they add a 3D model to the primary simulation, they also just boost the power of those generators quite a bit. So So it's
Yeah.
kind of two buckets of things. You can spend your logits on cosmetic items, or you can spend them on more generator unlocks on the main sim.
Yeah, I know that they're definitely a welcome addition to the main simulation and the other simulations in Mesozoic Valley and beyond. So, um, I think we're still trying to figure out how to best illustrate um, where those nodes will be going in the game, but I also kind of like the concept of it being a bit of a treasure hunt. So when you unlock it, it's like where is it? Where did it go on the tree? So we'd love to hear your feedback about your thoughts on that. So let us know what you think in the comments.
What's our next question? So this is all about questions.
What is society?
What is society, guys? What's society?
Moving from ethics to political philosophy.
So now you've just unlocked an entirely new branch of philosophy, political philosophy.
Here I go. I'm
And
gonna
yeah, let's see
it.
what the animation for this one is.
Nice chess pieces. Oh, I love how they just pop in individually like that. It's so cool. This looks familiar.
And for this theme, so political philosophy has a lot to do with who how do people work together in a society, or like who's in charge of society. And we thought the chessboard is a great symbol for that, because you have like the king, the queen, you have all these pawns, and it kind of represents this hierarchy in society. So we like that as a symbolism.
For sure. And as you can see here, the first trait node that you can unlock is who should rule. And we have some of the chess theme continuing within the images that we chose to put into these nodes.
Oh, someone had a question about artifacts boosting the secondary sims. So the artifacts, there'll be artifacts also in the Beyond and also the Mesozoic Valley at certain points. So they'll exist across different sims.
All right, unless if I get a massive currency boost.
Maybe do like two time flux. We'll see if we can get the first badge. Because that animation's nice.
Gotta go 4 times. Oh yeah, well let's see. We have our objectives here. As you can see, you can earn many different logits. So we highly recommend working your way through the whole exploration. What do I have to do to get the first badge? I need to collect 10 billion questions. All right, that is a feat.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And someone's asking someone's saying they want to play the Fungus Among Us event once again. And so in future events, when we rerun them, you won't win Darwinium, you'll win the Logits. And one issue, we want to run the events again because they're fun to play, but we want to make it more rewarding. So these Logits and the Logit Store, it gives more motivation to there's more things you could unlock, and there's different prizes you can win. So hopefully it makes events more fun to play a second time if you did.
I'm gonna spend all of my Darwinium.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to buy a bundle.
Maybe I don't know, maybe just buy a bunch of political philosophies first and get your generation up.
All right, time to speed run this, folks. Whoop.
Yeah, in this one, as you're unlocking all 5 of the questions, you're gonna have the generators. In some of the games, you unlock one generator at a time, and then the next generator is also always more powerful. In this one, we wanted to be more of a balance, so you're constantly switching which generator is the most powerful based on what you just unlocked. And this is supposed to feel more like maybe philosophy, like learning philosophy might be, where you're learning about different branches going off in different directions instead of just getting better at one skill.
All right, I think I got it.
Almost. Okay, here we go. You got it. Yeah.
This is how some people are able to beat the events in like 5 hours. You just use all the Darwinium that you saved up from watching these streams.
And yeah, so we just unlocked the first badge, and you'll see in the side panel there, there's 3 badges for the event, and you can see the silhouette, what they look like.
Oh.
In the next update, we also have this new viewer where you can view the badges that you've earned. This just allows you to see them a little larger, and you can read the description of what they are. We also modified some of the badge designs. So these will, when you do get the update, you'll notice if you earned badges already, they look a little different. We wanted to focus more on the silhouette, so each one looks very unique.
And as you can see here, we also have the silhouettes of the next 2 badges up there. So we'd be curious to hear people's thoughts on what they think those what those badges will be.
Yeah, we want them to be mysterious.
Well, I think this is pretty much the majority of what we have to show for the event. Obviously, we don't want to give too much away, so I feel like this is a good place to end for our gameplay section. We still have plenty of fun things to talk about. So
yeah, and so if you're just coming on, so this is the next event coming out, the philosophy event, and we are this weekend we're have open beta. So if you're on Steam, iOS, you can join that beta today. Android, you got to sign up for it, but we'd love to get a few more testers to test it out. And then the timeline, we think this event is gonna go live probably 2 weeks from now. We think it'll probably come out July 7th.
That might be subject to change. So
okay, it might not be perfect, but around we're like 2.5 weeks. We have to finish the beta test we're doing now. There's a few more bugs, but we're eager to get this out.
Ideally, we would love for it to go out at that time.
Yeah. So for if you're not a beta tester, just keep an eye on the game. We're going to be updating the icon. We got a new philosophy icon. So when you see that change in the game, there'll be a button that has a countdown for when the release is.
And I also just added the link again of our most recent patch notes. So if anyone is joining our if anyone's interested in joining our open beta program, just follow that link. All right. Well, thank you, John, for watching me play through the philosophy exploration horribly. Let's move on into your process for how you've developed the really cool aesthetics for this exploration.
Sure. Hey guys. So yeah, like Emily mentioned, this was kind of a challenging event for us. So we're kind of just starting to produce these new explorations, and I think in the past, the gardens or the thinking about how to represent the ideas that we wanted to kind of showcase in the explorations was a little bit easier just because the topics were more literal. So for example, with the James Webb, you kind of build the James Webb, or even with the fungus, you kind of grow these fungi. But for philosophy, it's kind of an extremely abstract sort of a concept. There's no really obvious way to represent it in a physical way, like we normally do in the gardens. So it was kind of a good stress test for us on the creative and the art team to see, as we kind of build more of these explorations, can we actually do a garden for a topic which isn't necessarily physical? So just kind of getting into what we see here, it's basically just a mood board. This is kind of our starting point. When we decided that we're going to do philosophy, we got everyone on the team and we said, hey, what do you think about philosophy? How do you think we should represent it? And we had pretty much anyone that was interested on the team go in and just throw a bunch of references onto a mood board, which is what we're looking at here.
Yeah. Sorry. It was a bit of a hodgepodge, so it was really fun, like seeing everyone dump in their own interpretations of how they see philosophy, and this is kind of how it all started. So getting to see everyone collaborate on that was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think to Andrew's credit, I think he's been very good about kind of being very democratic about sourcing ideas from everyone on the team. So it was cool to kind of get representation from all different sides, from someone on the research side versus someone who's maybe doing the 3D modeling, and to kind of get all of our ideas into one place as a starting point to really start refining the ideas. So you can kind of see there's a lot going on here. Like we were thinking, of heads and kind of brains, and we were thinking about these symbols like these chess pieces and doors and statues, and we were also kind of thinking about kind of Greek philosophers and Roman philosophers and statues and columns and all that sort of thing. But we didn't want to be as specific as that, since I think philosophy is kind of a global concept, and it's a human concept. So from here, we were kind of trying to figure out where to go, and a few things started to emerge. So one of the things, or one of the patterns that you can kind of see here, is kind of this interesting color palette. So we have kind of this weird vaporwave-ish thing that's happening here with like the pinks and the purples, and there's kind of like this surreal sort of a feeling to a lot of it, which we all thought was pretty cool. So if you want to go to the next slide, Emily. Mm-hmm. Basically, once we had a bunch of kind of ideas, we started doing some sketches to kind of see if we can start nailing down exactly what we wanted this thing to be. So in the beginning, there were a lot of ideas that were kind of being thrown around. There were a lot of symbols that we kind of tried to zero in on. So the idea of like a candle or a flame or a mirror, or a lot of different sort of ideas that were kind of going around. And at this stage, as you can see here, it was just a lot of just really rough sketching just to kind of get ideas and throw them out there to kind of see what kind of sticks. As you can see, like obviously the goal here isn't to make something pretty. It's really just to kind of nail down an idea that the whole team can kind of get behind and start building. So if you kind of look at the sketches on the bottom right, I think this is really kind of, if you go back, just wanna, yep. The one on the bottom right with the head and the chess pieces, I think that was kind of, the one that in my mind kind of stuck out as something that started to kind of get some momentum with the team, and that's kind of the direction that we kind of started to move towards.
Which then leads to the next part of the slide.
Yep. Yeah. So this is basically just kind of like a one-page brief type thing. So this is kind of where we started picking out some of the key ideas from the mood board, and starting putting some words together about like how we wanted to describe this thing that we're going to try to build, and making sure that the team was kind of all on the same page. So from here, we basically had a pretty clear idea of what we wanted, but we still wanted to refine it further, and we still weren't really sure how the pieces would fit. So here, one of our artists, Olga, was actually doing kind of more higher fidelity sort of mock-ups. We didn't wind up going in the direction of a lot of these things, but it was kind of helpful in kind of narrowing down the ideas of exactly what we wanted to start producing once we actually moved into production.
These are great. I'm so glad you included these, because yeah, we went through a lot of ideas. We had like flames, that like pillars of fire, and then the mind. There's like a blue blob with all these different objects inside of it. We had this idea of like the brain like lighting up in different pieces.
I really liked how much abstract interpretation there was at first, and that really helped us like weed through to get to the really good stuff that all of the team was like, okay, yes, we all agree this is a fantastic concept, let's roll with it.
Right. And especially on the right side, I think all the symbols that are kind of in the final version are kind of in that mock-up, or in those mock-ups that you see on the right. But it was just a matter of figuring out how we wanted to arrange it, how we wanted to frame it, so that it works with our camera system, and so that kind of, it actually feels interesting to interact with. So for example, you can kind of see Semblance's statue head is in there, but exactly how it was going to be in the final version wasn't actually fleshed out yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you want to move on to the next slide, basically, at this point, we had like a pretty good idea of what it was that we were trying to build. So the next step was basically having our modeler, Jenna, model all this stuff up. So we kind of blocked out the symbol since we don't want to spoil the final version of the garden for anyone that hasn't played it yet. But this is kind of what, Jenna's world looks like. So you can kind of see on the left, we have this texture, and then we kind of paint those textures onto this model that you created, which has all the different symbols, which represent the different branches of philosophy. Once we had the model, if you move on to the next slide, which I think should be a video. This is actually a new feature that we built. So this is normally when you unlock something new in the game, you get a little cutscene and then something kind of pops in. But we actually built out some new technology to really kind of be able to do sort of these custom animations for when you unlock something. So as we kind of saw in the demo earlier, we had like these chess pieces kind of moving up in this intricate sort of a sequence. And I think that just kind of makes it feel a little bit more special when you actually unlock one of these things. So you can kind of see on the left, that's where we kind of record all the different animation, and then what you see on the right is kind of the end result. Yeah, and then if we move on to the next slide, that's pretty much,
Yeah, apologies for skipping around. I'm trying to match you.
This was, you were trying to go for like a game of, if anyone's seen the Game of Thrones intro, where there's like all these geometric shapes kind of coming together. I feel like a little of that kind of popped in with the chess pieces kind of coming in different speeds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was one of the things that did come up on our discussion. And yeah, I mean, I think especially with some of the later unlocks too, you'll definitely see more of that. But yeah, and then kind of at the end of all that, at the end of that whole process, this is kind of what we wound up with, which is the progression where you kind of start with this fragmented semblance head, and then as you kind of piece it together, you kind of, the idea or the hope is that you feel like you're kind of completing a puzzle as well as really creating a piece of art that represents philosophy kind of as a whole. And it also hopefully kind of ties back into the game, or the idea in the game that, Semblance is really kind of starting to think about these bigger questions and really starting to, make sense of philosophy and what those questions might mean. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all that we have for the art process. Hopefully you guys enjoy it when you unlock the rest of the event.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing with this with everyone, John. Like, I wish that we could show what it looks like in the end, because it is so cool seeing it all pieced together. It's really a beautiful piece of art, and I really can't wait to see people unlocking it and then sharing it on our socials and saying like, hey, I got it all the way to the last generator, and seeing what people's thoughts are about it. So thank you, John, for showing us this. It's very special.
Sure, yeah. I'm definitely glad with how it turned out. I mean, I think in the beginning we were all kind of nervous, like, can we even pull this thing off? Like, how are we going to even do something like for something as abstract as philosophy? But I think, like, especially in the last few weeks, everything really started to click. And especially once you got like the music in and kind of, started adding the polish, I do think it turned out like really well. I'm excited.
For sure. I agree. All right. Well, I know there are probably a good number of people here who are excited about the code, but before we jump into that, just to give you a little taste of how the philosophy exploration has colored our perspectives of philosophy, thought it'd be fun to just quickly say what our favorite forms of life philosophy, say philosophies 5 times fast. What our favorite forms of life philosophies are after learning about them from all of our research. So, Andrew, why don't you kick things off? Is there a certain philosophy you learned about while getting this exploration ready?
Yeah, I think my favorite 2 nodes. So a lot of the nodes relate to each other because you'll learn about one piece of philosophy and then it'll open another piece of philosophy. But late in the game, you unlock a philosophy called nihilism, and nihilism is kind of like everything means nothing, which is kind of like, well, it's basically like everything's meaningless or something, and it's like I mean, our game's not very like we don't like this is like religious stuff, but we don't really talk about God too much. But it's kind of like if God's not real, then is there meaning at all? So, but there's another. So after you unlock nihilism, then you unlock this other concept called existentialism, which is about like your internal reason to find meaning. So, for me, it's like existentialism means like why do I find meaning in life? Like, do I want to create a painting because it makes me feel really good, or do I love my cats because they like I personally care about them? So I don't need an external force to find meaning in life. I can find my personal reasons to do something and care about something. So for me, I think existentialism is the philosophy node that I like the most.
Nice.
My my favorite thing with the nihilism node is that we actually managed to capture that concept through the mechanics somehow. So when you unlock nihilism, you guys should definitely pay attention to what it
Yeah.
does to the game. It's pretty cool.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I love the nihilism node on the tree so much that I'm going to make a TikTok video about it. So stay tuned for that one, folks. Um, uh,
It's the edgiest of philosophies.
it's really fun. The like the backstory and to some of these philosophies and like the attitudes about them are reflected in the text or the gameplay and somehow, which makes this exploration feel extra special. So we're really excited to share that with all of you. John, do you have a certain life philosophy that you thought stood out among the rest in the exploration?
I think that my favorite node is not sure I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it's solipsism. So it's the idea that like you can only be sure that your own mind exists, because like it's kind of fun. It's kind of like the Truman Show idea that like everyone else could just be like a zombie robot, and like you can only be sure that you yourself are an actual human being. So I don't know. I thought that was a fun node. I don't really think it's that practical in my life. I think for that I probably would pick like rationalism or something, but I did think solipsism as a concept is fun.
That was a fun one to find an image for. I remember Olga and I racking our brains a little bit looking for stuff, and we found that it's kind of a little bit hard to represent solipsism in the form of just one image. So it was a good time of me and Olga just sifting through Shutterstock trying to find the best image for it. uh,
Yeah, I think that's actually worth mentioning is I think you and Olga did a fantastic job with the icons for this event since like with the garden, I think for all the icons in the tree, a lot of the ideas are really kind of abstract. But just looking at the final version of the tree, I think all the icons really came out great, and I think they actually do a really good job of capturing a lot of the ideas. So I know that they're kind of tiny, especially in the phone, but if you guys are playing through, you should definitely take a moment to kind of pay attention to them as you unlock them.
Thanks, yeah. And I know Olga did a great job of making sure all the colors tied together in each pillar really well. So her attention to color and detail is always really fun to see how she incorporates it into each exploration. For me, I guess the one of my favorite nodes that was in the exploration was cut actually. So I'm a little sad about that. So I'll share it in the live stream. It was a Epicureanism. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure, but it was supposed to go after hedonism, and hedonism is like minimizing pain and just enjoying life to the fullest of pleasures and not doing anything that requires effort. But Epicureanism is more about enjoying life's simple pleasures, so it's like hedonism taken down a few notches. And it's like minimizing fear, keeping like a positive attitude, and not getting too swept up in like negative emotions and stuff. So I feel like Epicureanism is like a good one to vibe with on a day-to-day basis, and but the one that I love the most that is in the game I'd say is absurdism, because as an artist it's fun to see people handle or at least interpret really stressful chaotic situations and to make it kind of funny and not make much sense, and I like seeing that interpreted in art, and that has kind of influenced some of my own artistic perspectives. So lately I've been getting into absurdism because Why not? It's kind of fun. You only live once, right?
And then the icon for absurdism in the game, isn't it like that banana that was duct
Yeah.
taped to like a wall or something? It was
Yeah,
like
and
an
it's
art
sold for
piece.
like millions or billions of dollars.
Wow, so that sculpture got in our game, the duct taped banana.
Yep.
It's great.
It was a little absurd, even for my standards. All right. Well, that's just a little taste to give you an idea of what's to come for our big questions exploration, our live event all about philosophy. So we hope you're all looking forward to it. We're excited to hear about your experiences with it and to see which traits that you jive with. So we're going to be keeping an eye on your comments in all of our socials and seeing what you're talking about it in our Discord. So we hope you're all really looking forward to it because we had a great time making it. And I'm going to pull up the code now because I think everyone's been patiently waiting for that. I believe this one's for 20 cubes, and I like to give everyone the opportunity to guess what the code is. This one might be a little obvious if you grasped what the theme is here, other than philosophy. Does anyone have any guesses as to what this code could be?
People guessed Kant. It's a philosopher's name. Chess. Oh, that's a great one.
Chess is a good one. Maybe I should have done that.
Mind Socrates.
It's a word we've been saying a lot, to be honest.
We've said it many times during the stream so far.
I'm curious, actually. I don't know what the code is.
All right. Well, then I guess I will reveal it now to get rid of this mystery. It's question, because we want you to be asking lots of questions and wanting to figure out some answers behind those questions. All right, I feel like our codes are getting longer and longer, but it's QUESTION, all caps, no spaces, question. There is the redeem code option for Android and Steam players in the top right corner menu that you have. It's the hamburger menu. You select it, scroll down to the redeem code option, and input it there. Unfortunately, as always, we don't have the option for codes yet for our iOS players, so if you have access to a Steam account, we're going to have to use your cloud transfer save system to implement it into your game, unfortunately. We would like to come up with a solution, and we are brainstorming ways to do that, but right now, that's still the best solution that we have. So that's question. It should be for 20 cubes. Let us know if you have any issues with it. And yeah, hope you enjoy your free Darwinium.
Ooh.
Now that ran a little longer than I was expecting, but that's okay. We can go a little over time because everyone's questions are
now
very important
questions.
to us.
Now we're gonna actually do questions.
Yes, now you can ask your additional
questions,
extra questions. That's very on theme. So yeah, any questions you have about the exploration, about what we have planned. I know we released a new roadmap recently, so I'm sure there might be a couple people who have questions about that. This is the time to ask them. Let us know what's on your mind. Well, first off, why doesn't Apple allow codes? I do not know. It's part of their terms of service or their agreement clause for apps, unfortunately. We can all read the fine print together if you would like.
Let's see. Angry Owl asks, is there going to be another rerun of the James Webb Telescope or the Fungus Among Us event after the philosophy event? And the answer is yes, there will be. We're going to try to start running a event, like a rerun, every 2 weeks. So philosophy is coming next in about 2.5 weeks. But after that point, we'll basically rerun them on a schedule. And that's so new players can get a chance to play them. It's also, if you missed one, you'll get a chance to play them also, because you'll have opportunities to collect the badges. And then our goal, like on our roadmap, we still have 3 more events that we're working on. So as we create new events, those will also get added to this catalog of events.
And Angry Owl 72 was asking when this event will be released, I believe. As Andrew said, we're aiming for about 2.5 weeks. We're doing our best to stick with that schedule, but if it seems like there's going to be a delay of any kind, I would love to notify everybody on our social channels. So just keep an eye out on our socials, because you'll know definitely for sure when we're getting ready to roll it out.
Yeah, we're hoping to get the new. We have to update the game, so we're hoping to do that next week, and then you'll see the promo button turn on, which will advertise the event, and the promo button will show the exact date it's going to come out, which, yeah, probably 2.5 weeks.
All right. These are some good questions. Thanks, everybody.
What is Area 52 asking? The artifacts from fully maxed out events going to be changed or stay like the weeb tail from Beyond Sim? I don't know what that means.
Well, because
what do you mean Area 52?
Currently, we have the James Webb Telescope as like a node in the Beyond.
Web tail.
Yes, and I think you're asking how the artifacts are different from the node that is currently in the tree for the James Webb. So if you can just elaborate more on
great question. Yeah, and we've kind of been switching back and forth. So we've been trying to figure out how the events work and like what kind of unlocks you get. So we showed earlier in the event, we have this Logit Store, which you're going to be able to unlock cosmetics and also nodes in the tree. So the James Webb, we're kind of backtracking a little bit because we did have the James Webb 3D model that was in the garden, but we're changing it a little bit. So the James Webb, you'll unlock the James Webb artifact, and that actually adds a node to the Beyond tree. And that node is actually going to act as a kind of a like a rare card. So James Webb will boost all terrestrial planets by 2x production, but then it'll also unlock a 3D model in the world. So the James Webb artifact both affects the economy of the Beyond, but also you get a 3D model in your garden.
And in doing this, it allows us the opportunity to do that for all the other explorations too. So I know we've been getting a lot of requests of people asking us to like add the explorations as like main game content, but that is difficult for us to do. So this is a very good solution for us to be able to provide some context about that exploration and still incorporate it into the main game. We have a name for the mountain in the land garden? Oh, I'd like to think that it's named. Oh, that's also something that that John worked on. Actually, totally art directed and put into the game himself. He designed all of the building blocks that go into that garden.
Yeah, John, what's the mountain called?
I don't know. That's a good question. We should think about it. Mount Lunch or something.
Mount Lunch.
If anyone deserves to name it, I think it's you, John.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to get back to you on that one. I haven't really thought about it, but I mean, I guess like the Mesozoic Valley has its own name, so it would be cool to name some of the places or the gardens in the
yeah, maybe we should hide like a secret achievement on top of the mountain, and then the name is discovered.
Well, now if we do that, it's not so secret. Everybody knows.
You gotta watch the stream to know about the secret achievements.
Oh, good point.
So let's see. Someone's asking, did we watch the James Webb Telescope launch back in December? I think we did. John, you watched it.
Yeah, I think in the office that we work out of, a bunch of us had it on the stream somewhere.
Yeah, it was fun seeing NASA's live stream.
Yeah, we were all really excited about the telescope. I'm still waiting to see some color images. I think they have images coming in July. I'm a little disappointed so far. I want to see like beautiful images of space. So I'm hoping in July we'll get to see those.
Well, patience, it'll come.
Yeah, just waiting. The other cool thing, once we do get images from the James Webb, we probably will update the James Webb event a little bit. As we mentioned, we're doing reruns on them, and something like the James Webb is so current, so there's actually still things happening. So in the future, we might add a few more nodes to explain the continuation of the story of the James Webb.
I see someone has been posting some suggestions of explorations they'd like to see in the future. We're always really curious to see what people want to see. So if there's anyone else who also has suggestions, we'd love to hear them. We do our best to incorporate suggestions into content of for explorations that we think people would enjoy to play. So we see here you hope in the future to see psychology, culture, and food explorations. That would be cool to do one on food. I know
Mm.
that's I mean, who doesn't love food? Oh, now I'm hungry.
What would a food one look like? What foods should we explore?
Well, I guess we would have the option of either like doing an exploration about agriculture in general and like how humans have changed agriculture over time, or we could focus on one kind of food and its production.
Yeah, yeah. I'm personally really excited about um, the whole idea, the concept of the exploration, since it kind of lets us get really deep into different subjects. And I think it's also just fun to play just like a bite-sized piece of the game as opposed to having to like go through all of the Beyond, for example. And I think the Beyond took us like, years really to put together. And then a lot of the players, a lot of you guys are so fast, you just blow through it in a couple of weeks. So I think just being able to do new content in smaller chunks will hopefully keep things more interesting for you guys, and it'll let us kind of dig deeper into some of the topics that we wouldn't be able to get into otherwise.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Um, Having everyone's input really helps in us deciding what topics are best to explore in our explorations. And yeah, see, like there's a lot of suggestions here in the chat just now. So thank you, everyone. I'm gonna just make some notes and see what everyone's suggesting.
Do an agriculture angle, incorporate bioweapons. Nice.
I also
Robotic exploration.
cool.
Ideas.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of different stuff we can do, and that's the fun part about explorations.
Yeah, like Lori said periodical tables, and someone also said chemicals. Yeah, I think like the periodical tables is pretty great. I feel like that's like such a big topic. So maybe at some point.
I think I was asking if we have a plan for all the future exploration. Question, do we?
Yeah, I mean, on our roadmap, we're definitely doing 3 more of them. Yeah, we have 2 of them planned out. We can't announce what they are, but we have ideas for 2 of them.
Well, I do have the roadmap on hand, and I know someone was asking about the second phase of the Beyond. So I think just a quick look at our most recent roadmap before we end things today would be a good
That'd be great.
note to end things on. As you can see, we have the things that we worked on most recently. The Beyond came out end of last year, and then we went full force into our explorations or our limited time events. This actually is a little bit outdated already because the returning events node you see up there linked to explorations has been unlocked, and we can now change that node that Olga grayed out with a monkey and its brain, as we can add that now as the philosophy event. So as you can see there are 3 other mysterious looking nodes, and that ideally would be the explorations that we're thinking of right now. A couple are in development, but we're not going to share that information just yet.
Yes. Yeah. So right now we are kind of focusing on these events, and then we want to kind of put our focus on updating the civilization garden and maybe adding a few more nodes to the civilization tree. We never really did a graphics pass on that, so we want to give that some update. And you'll see there's astronomy is also part of that too. So we'll add some history of astronomy, and then finally the Beyond Milky Way. It is there. We haven't forgot about it. We know a lot of players are kind of just at the end of that. So we are going to eventually get back to the next phase of the Beyond and go deeper out into space.
Yeah, we have a lot that we would really love to do. We'd love to do it all at once, but We are a small team. It's always a nice reminder to just put that out there. So we do what we can within the amount of time that we have. And right now, we're really enjoying putting out these like mini bits of content for people to engage with at limited periods of time. Especially because we get so many suggestions from everyone asking us to cover different fields of science, and this is honestly one of the best ways that we can do it without overpowering the main simulation too much.
Yeah. Yeah, the other strategy here is